All right, and with that, we are going to go to Sonic 3 Angel Island Revisited with HUD601.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Power Up with Pride Winter 2021. My name is HUD601, it's so utterly wonderful to be here. We're going to be running some Sonic 3 Air for you tonight and opening up the Sonic block with not Sonic. Instead we're going to be playing as the orange hindrance himself, Tails. But before we get started, I'd love to introduce my wonderful commentator for you, the one, the only, you've just seen them run Discworld, Indez.
Hello, it's me.
Welcome back. How you feeling? How did you feel about your run?
Yeah, I think that went pretty well. Yeah, it's good to. It's always good to run it in a marathon and just everyone to experience the world of Discworld in such a great way.
World of Jaggiga. Sadly, no Jaggiga here, but instead we are going to be running some Sonic 3 Air, which is a fan-made remaster of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. We'll be talking a little bit about that during the run. Now, I believe there was a bid war for this one in regards to the potential sound effects pack that we might be using. Can I just check with our host, were there any bids on that bid war at all? If not, I do have a backup.
Give me one second to refresh it, and it looks like the Argic Enhancement Pack is the winner.
Ooh, oh, turn up for the books. Okay, Argic it is. So let's go into our mod packs here. We'll take Colin off. We'll put Colin to bed for the night, and we're going to bring Argic out instead. So I need to turn up the sound effects a little bit because Argic's pack's a little bit quiet. But yeah, this is going to be a completely normal run of Sonic. That's not Sonic. As you can see, we're using a save file here. This is New Game Plus, which means we start with the 7 Chaos Emeralds and the 7 Super Emeralds, which means I can turn into Hyper Tails from the very beginning. You'll see this as we go through the run, but without further ado, if we're ready on the timer, let's get this thing underway in 3, 2, 1, go. So as said, this is Sonic 3 Angel Island Revisited, a fan-made remaster of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You'll notice quite a few changes from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. First off, the most obvious, we're in widescreen here. Yes, we can see all of the level, which is awesome to see. And just while I'm going through Angel Island here at the beginning, I'm going to let Mendez take over and explain to you some of the other changes as I bring out the Flicky Army of Doom.
Yeah, so it's kind of a bit of a remake, but with some of the glitches that were in the original kind of fixed. So especially some of the more frame perfect speedrun glitches, such as level wraps and things like that. So it means that a lot of new routes have had to be discovered for a lot of the levels for pretty much all the characters. And it's been a super interesting time since the game came out of following all these glitches being added. There's also mod support, so as you can see, as you can hear, we have the Argic Enhancement Pack on. So Argic, one of the big Sonic speedrunners, has kindly provided vocals for every single sound effect in the game, which is always fun to listen to.
Bounce pad.
Bounce pad.
Absolutely.
Ring.
You'll notice as well we have other things such as the ability to skip the score and the time bonus at the end there, so we can save some time on that. We also have in-game menuing, which we're going to make use of later on, in fact, at the end of this level, in order to skip the cutscene. So we're able to exit back out to the menu, then go back in via our save file. The other things that you'll notice, especially with Tails, we have things such as flight cancel, so I can immediately cancel my flight when I want to. Very useful considering we're going to use Tails' flight quite a lot in this run.
Yeah. The last part of this level, the bitrate is always utterly terrible. I'm imagining the same thing is currently happening on stream. It gets very, very choppy because of all the fire effects in the background, the waterfall effects in the background. This is completely normal. The rest of the game gets a lot better from this point on.
Now, we need to pray for some good RNG here, because my lovely flicky army of doom do like to cause us some problems when it comes to boss fights, and considering I'm going to be balancing over a death pit here, I need to hope that they don't get in the way. Just like that.
Yep. Oh, no.
Of course. Okay, let's pick up this fire shield as a backup. Oh... Yeah. It's completely random as to whether or not they'll get the hit before I do. It does occasionally happen, and unfortunately means we fall into a death pit, betrayed by the flickies. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, the flicky army of doom is what you get as Hyper Tails in Sonic 3A. You get 4 flickies that circle around your head, and they will go and attack, quite literally, anything that Tails could in theory attack. Including the boss, and if the boss is attacked, his hitbox isn't active and I can't bounce off of him, and that's why we unfortunately just fell to our doom. But this time we'll be fine.
Yeah, the way that Hyper Form works in this game, you get 50 rings and you can transform into Hyper Tails. A lot of the level strategies focus on like the fastest way to get to 50 rings and then you know, transform to Hyper. Hyper Tails is faster and cannot take damage, and of course you get the flicky army of doom. So there's a lot of advantages to it as you go fast through the level.
So, Hydro Act 1, I'm not going to pronounce his full name because I'm not starting that debate again. Water World Act 1. We're taking the top route here, we're taking the Tail-specific route, grabbing 50 rings along the way. So the thing to realise about a New Game Plus run is that I need to get 50 rings in order to turn into Hyper Tails, and thus I am faster, I'm invulnerable to everything apart from death planes, as you saw, but also being crushed, that can also still kill me. But yeah, the idea is to get to 50 rings as fast as possible. Now, in some levels, I'm going to be getting a big ring, which normally would take us to the Blue Sphere special stages. But in this case, will actually just give me an instant 50 rings because I've already got all the Chaos and Super Emeralds. The other way is taking very specific routes to pick up 50 rings as fast as possible, and that requires me to not take any damage. So we're going to see that, for example, here in Hydro Act 2. I'm also going to do a little cutscene skip here, just by the moment Act 2 starts, just restarting from last checkpoint, and just allows us to skip the cutscene going into Hydro Act 2.
Yeah, Hydro 2 is a level that's kind of a bit cycle-based. There's quite a few things in it that, you know, if you don't quite make the cycle, then you have to wait a little bit. We'll see the first one of these here, as we have to wait for this column to come down before we can get up there. But yeah, some of the levels in this game are a little bit stingy on the rings, shall we say. So the routing is very careful to get those 50 rings as fast as possible.
Now, this next part of the level is almost like a figure 8. So what we're actually going to do is fly across to the other side, and rather than doing all this bit of platforming, we're just going to come down the other side. That saves about half a minute. So you can see here, we're now up to 50 rings. I'm not going to transform just yet, because it does take a couple of seconds to transform. I'm actually going to do it just here. Just like that. And I can maintain my momentum. I'm going to take the top route, and again, we're going to have another figure 8 section coming up just here. So I'm going to jump and fly across to the other side. I'm going to get past this waterfall. That is the path swapper. And now I need to remember my cycles. So 115, it's at the top. 116, 17, it's going to be at the bottom. We're going over. There we go. Yeah, those platforms there, if you don't know your cycles, you don't know where the platforms are, you can end up not making it over. You end up back down in the water, and you can lose yourself a good 15-20 seconds having to make your way back up.
Yep. moving on to the Hydra boss here. This is again a reason that we kind of want Hyperform for pretty much all the bosses, even with the Flicky Army of Doom kind of messing up the hitboxes occasionally. It's still just so fast to just, you know, stay inside the boss's hitbox and just get those 8 hits as quickly as possible as soon as the hitbox becomes active.
So once again, waiting for the score to count down to 0. At that point, I'm allowed to exit out of the level. And now we are here in Marble Garden Act 1. So this is going to be our first instance of finding a big ring, although we did actually have one in Angel Island Act 2, thinking about it. We're going to go in here, I'm going to grab this big ring, immediately transform, and now we're going to take the top route here. Gets the jump first time, lovely.
Yeah, we're going to get a load of rings. You'll notice the rings actually count down as well while you've got while you're in Hyperform. So you do have a limited amount of time, and I don't think that's a problem for any particular levels as Tails, is it?
Carnival Night Act 2, when we get there, it's a little... that one's problematic for every character when it comes to ring count. So yeah, you may hear me at times, especially during Carnival Night Act 2, I tend personally to describe it as being what's known as ring shy, where I've been a little bit too shy about collecting enough rings, and I'm in danger of running out. A fun little... It's not a glitch, but because obviously we're doing glitchless, and the Flicky's betraying me again!
Yeah, you can get one cycle there. The boss doesn't activate until you get on the floor, but yeah, if you go through the boss, then there you go.
Yeah, so you can fly, stay at the top and jump on top of the boss, and the boss doesn't trigger because the boss is only set to trigger when you're on the floor. Yeah, the Flicky's betraying me, and I once again falling through the hitbox twice in this run now, but thankfully not much of a problem. Made it in the one cycle. That saves about 5 or 6 seconds doing it in one cycle.
Yeah, I think we need a counter for the Flicky betrayals.
Okay, so taking the top here, I'm going to do a super fly here, just bounce off of that and get lots of quick height while I'm flying. Take this top route. This is a nice little Tails only shortcut, although you can do it with Knuckles if you're particularly good with Knuckles.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, I don't know this level at all. I've never played Marble Garden 2. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think the level really exists. I'm a Sonic and Tails runner, so I just skip this level every time. I have no idea where we are right now.
Yeah. So got to be careful on that second loop just there, not to glitch. It's very, very easy to take too much momentum into the spikes and clip straight through the floor, and that would be GG run over. It's no longer glitchless. But yeah, so I'm always a little bit cautious over that bit, I'm not going to lie.
That seems to be a very common theme in Sonic glitchless runs, that, you know, solidity is a suggestion.
Yeah. I would say it's often harder to do a glitchless run in Sonic games because they are kind of, you know, I don't want to say designed in that way, but it's well known that Sonic games are, well, floors and ceilings are but a suggestion.
Yeah.
So again, making use of Tails' flight ability here in order to skip certain sections. So one of the mechanics that you will spot is when I'm going into flight with Tails, I'm trying to enable Tails' flight right at the top of the arc of my jump, just before I lose my upwards momentum. It means I get the most momentum up from the jump, but Tails will also carry that momentum into the flight initially, so I get a little boost in the flight as well. It's a really tricky thing to try and perfect, but I'm always going for that in every level. So once again, whoops, not getting the menu in quite right, into Zone 4, now into Carnival Night Act 1. So this one, I'm going to get this 10 ring box here, I'm going to get the rings on the floor, I'm going to jump up to this section and just run. We're going to end up with 49 rings from these 3 boxes here, jump across, grab another ring, transform instantly, beautiful.
Yeah, Carnival Night 1, fairly short level.
I love that the Flickies attack bumpers.
Yeah. The Flickies are just having a good time, okay? They've come out to the carnival. They want to have fun.
We're going to take this top section here and then down to the boss, and slightly different strat from what you might expect for this boss. I'm actually going to disable hyper mode. So this is another Sonic 3 Air enhancement. We can actually turn hyper and super form off. And the reason for it is because I don't actually want the flickies attacking this boss, because I want to extend this boss by hitting it at very specific intervals for the shortest possible boss fight, just like that. And if I allow the flickies to do it, we could end up anywhere, and that's not good. Holding down now, just to pan the camera down, this will actually cause the checkpoint signpost to appear a little bit lower than it would, saves half a second. It's all about saving the frames, Mendez.
It is all about saving the frames. So Carbon Knight 2, we were talking about earlier. This is going to be a very a very careful ring route, because near the end of the level where high perform is going to get dismissed, so we still need 50 rings after that to go back into high perform for the boss.
And I don't want to jinx it, but there is also a section on here that I can very easily get crushed. So,
oh yeah,
fingers crossed. The only other time I've done this in a marathon, it happened. And it's only happened one other time, so fingers crossed. But yeah, so we're going to go into the water section in a second. Knuckles is going to turn off the lights. We're going into the water section, and it's part of the water section. It gets a little bit ropey, so I'm just going to concentrate a second. Okay. We're also needing to be very conservative with rings. We're going to get very close on the ring count here. Okay, so this section coming up now is a little bit ropey. Come on. There we go, got it, that's fine. So yeah, that first barrel, you can very easily get crushed by it if you don't get like the extra kind of momentum off of the corner. And I missed it in a marathon run last week and got crushed by 1 frame.
Yep.
That's gonna happen. So you can see we're down to 12 rings, 11, but we're actually fine. Despite the ring count and how it looks, we are perfectly fine. They're going to grab these 2 boxes, little shortcut just there. We're going to come up the top here. I'm actually going to go up for safety and just grab these 2 ring boxes too. It just takes 2 seconds, but it just guarantees that we're not going to run out here.
Yeah.
Whoops. Try that again.
So turn the lights back on and heading up to the Cylinder of Doom.
Barrel of Doom.
Barrel of Doom.
Barrel of Doom. Everything is of Doom in this game. It's the flickies of Doom, it's the Barrel of Doom. So, I'm going to fly across again. Another figure 8 section. Any kind of figure 8 section in this game, we can just fly across to the other side and skip that. We don't need to play that bit of the game. Although the bumpers are not playable, which is nice of them. There we go.
Yep. And as we come over to Knuckles over here, this is where High Perform is going to be dismissed.
Nope, we're going to keep it.
Oh, no. Oh, is actually not dismissed here? Oh.
No. So, in one of the recent versions of Sonic 3 Air, basically your fast forward button, you saw that we just fast forwarded the cutscene. It's one of the nice quality of life enhancements in Sonic 3 Air. Certain cutscenes we can fast forward them, which is great for speedrunners. We love time save. However, because it shares the same button as your super/hyperform, if you keep hold of that button after the cutscene finishes, it disables your hyper mode.
That's why it happens.
Yeah, so the trick is to let go before the cutscene skip finishes, which means knowing almost exactly when it's going to finish and not overdoing it. Anyway, we're going to grab this big ring here. This gives us hyper straight away. Ice Cap is, I'm going to regret saying this, I'm sure, a fairly straightforward level.
What could possibly go wrong?
We're going to go up and get the lightning shield here. This isn't actually for Act 1, it's for Act 2. But it just saves us a couple of seconds in Act 2 grabbing it now rather than later.
Do we have a quick moment to read off a donation?
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm so sorry. Please go ahead.
Oh, no worries. We got a $150 donation from Dr. Goldfire70.
Whoa.
Didn't leave a comment, but that's okay. Also, if you didn't notice, we just had a gigantic gift sub battle in the chat and got a, 1,400% hype train, so...
Wow.
The Yeti started it.
As they so often do. Now, a huge shout out. Thank you for that incredible donation. And yeah, shout outs to the Yeti as well for starting a wonderful hype train. It was the Yeti's fault. It's always the Yeti's fault.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Ice Cap 1 dealt with and done. Ice Cap 2, we're going to actually be taking bottom route, believe it or not. Now, in Sonic games, especially Sonic 3 for the most part, you're usually rewarded for good platforming. That is to say, if you stay on the top route, it's usually the faster route. But on Ice Cap 2, it can actually be faster to take bottom route, but it does mean going over a little bit of trepidation in terms of a gigantic kill plane. So we're going to come down to the bottom route here. I'm going to transform during this loop just here. We're going to jump, go into flight, and then just skip straight across that kill plane.
Yeah, one of the problems with the other characters is that you have to kind of land on some platforms that's a little bit unreliable, so that's why it's most worth it for Tails.
Yeah. And then you've got to do these kind of trampoline sections, which are not particularly fast for the other characters. For Tails, if we can time it right, we can actually just jump and fly off of them through the tunnel, don't get crushed, into the boss arena within 50 seconds. Lovely.
Very nice. And again, just hovering inside that boss's hitbox there. So as soon as the hitbox is active, immediately gets a hit.
Now, we're not going to exit out at the end of this level, because then I've got to exit out, go in, find the right zone, and go forward. Instead, we're just going to wait, because I can just spin dash right here, and we're into the next level. Into lunch base. Did I say lunch? Ooh, hungry.
Lunch base!
Right, going to head down, and whoops, going to grab a big ring here. So we're immediately transformed. It takes around an extra probably 4 or 5 seconds to get that big ring, but the advantage that we get in the level from being hyper this early on, you pull that back during this level anyway. So we want to stay top here, we're just going to keep running across. Fly down this section and head towards the right. Oh, just got subpixel there, lost all my momentum. Mindy, do you want to explain subpixels?
I can explain subpixels. So the way that your position is stored in memory is kind of, you've got your position value, and you also have in pixels on screen, and you also have a subpixel value. And that subpixel value can be very difficult to manipulate and very difficult to predict. You certainly can't tell it just from looking at the character or anything like that. So, and sometimes, you know, if your subpixels just fall in a certain range when you're trying to do something, you just kind of get caught up on the geometry, and yeah, that kills all your momentum. It's you'll very often hear Sonic speedrunners cursing subpixels.
If it's not Tails, it's subpixels. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we get to battle with both in this one.
Or a jump button that doesn't jump. That's the. That's the
yeah. Quote 1, as it's so often called. I pressed jump and he didn't jump.
Yeah. The old speedrun staple.
So an interesting thing to look out for in Launch Base, especially Launch Base 2, there is a potential soft lock that I need to be careful of. There are certain sections in Launch Base where these red bridges, and there's a little button to activate them to move them from one position to another. You may have just seen it near the end of that run. The flickies do like to attack them, and for Launch Base 1, it's not really a problem. For Launch Base 2, if it attacks one of the buttons while it's on screen, if one of the flickies attacks it, it will soft lock me. I can get out of it, so it's fine. We won't lose much time, a few seconds, but it is a bit of a pain. It's only happened once yesterday during practice runs.
Ah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I know. Like, clearly, everything's going to go perfectly.
Yeah, it always does. With the power of pride, we shall survive.
Yep. So this level starts very similar to the previous one. We're going to go for a big ring that's right below the start. And, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to grab a second big ring along the route as well. So I'm going to take this little shortcut up here. Onto this spring. Missed time my jump, but that's fine. Tails, why are you stuck? That's never happened before. Check it off your bingo cards. Right,
no landing on that then.
Oh. These slopes are being particularly nasty today, and we're a little bit short on rings, but we should be fine. So, big jump, fly along here, and up to the top section. Lovely.
Yeah, I know Launch Base 2 can be quite a tight one on rings, especially for Sonic. How is it for Tails?
Tails isn't too bad, actually. We should be alright. I'm not concerned at this point.
Good.
We're also past the point where I could have potentially soft locked, so that's good as well. Big jump.
Sploosh. Sploosh.
So we're actually going to see one of the true benefits of having the flickies just here at the boss, because I can't currently hit the boss, but the flickies can. There's 1 hit, there's 2 hits, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, the flickies can get me some early hits, which is very nice. We've disabled hyper. It disables automatically for the cutscene, which is also a quality of life improvement. Doesn't do it in the original game. So we've got 90 rings at this point, and we can fast forward this cutscene here. Having hypertails does make this a little bit easier, I'm not going to lie, but check out these incredible skills right now. I can do this no-handed. There you go.
Amazing.
Just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's
Probably
not
even do it
over.
blindfolded.
I reckon you probably could. Okay, so here we go. Big arms time. So there's 1, there's 2. And now Big Arm's going to be up in the ceiling, but that's fine. We're Hypertails. We can just fly up and get some extra hits here. And what we're trying to aim for, there's 5, 6, 7, and the Flicky will do the last one for me. There it is. A nice 1-cycle boss, really quick.
Yep, and that is the first half of the game complete. That is the Sonic 3 part of the game complete. And the now we're going to head over to the Sonic and Knuckles half of the game.
Now I've got to remember which zone I'm going to. Zone 7, there we go.
So starting off with Mushroom Hill, which is the first zone from Sonic and Knuckles.
So instantly, what's Knuckles hiding in there? Let's go have a look. Oh look, it's a big ring. We'll have one of those, thank you very much. So Mushroom Hill tends to go one of 2 ways with Hypertails. It either goes really well or really terribly, and we'll see what we're going to get in a few seconds. You don't get any in between with Mushroom Hill 1, I'm afraid.
Yep.
But what we are going to do is fly from here, and we're just going to basically hold right and go as far right as we possibly can. If we do this correctly, we should skip pretty much near to the end of the level. Yeah, perfect. That's the checkpoint we want to hit. Go over here, grab this one. And a quick spin dash through the loops to the end of the level. Immediately go into flight for the boss. The boss is going to come down from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then last hit. And we've saved Tree.
Yeah, no tree destruction.
Tree has been saved. He has not lost his head this time. Thank goodness.
Nice.
If I can read a quick donation.
Please be my guest. Go for it.
We got $5 from Moonblaze Wolf, who says, ring.
Rang.
Ring.
Thank you very much for that donation, Dijon. So, Mushroom Hill 2, taking top path here, grabbing us, guess what? Another big ring! It's almost like that's what we're aiming for in these levels.
Oh, yeah, weird, isn't it? So it's always nice with these, like just very open levels that Tails can just, like, basically hold right and just, like, run and fly through.
Nice little section here, we just hold down, the game kind of plays itself. Jump up here onto the pulley and go to the top.
Yeah, staying on the left side of the pulley so you can get up to this extra section up here. Doing a little bit of a fancy figure of 8.
I do love that figure of 8. It's so swish. So we get 6 early hits on Robotnik. The last 2 as he goes across for the fastest possible boss kill on Mushroom Hill 2. And we're going to head off into the battery. The flying battery. The lofty Duracell. Now, Flying Battery 1 is a level that is reliant on ring count from the start. So we need to be very careful about our movement. There's quite a lot of things that can cause us problems at the start. So I'm going to do a spin dash here to the left side. Charge up a 2-tap so that we can skip that bit. And I need to make sure I don't hit the flames down there, which we avoid. Lovely. I'm going to get the fire shield and the extra rings here for safety. Got to be marathon safe.
Yeah, there's just a pit below there, so that's you gotta be very careful when flying over there, not to go too low, too high.
There we go, lovely, and we should be able to transform now, which means the Room of Doom is no doom for us. We can just fly up and not worry about it. There we go. No doom. Again, as I said, everything in this game is doom.
There is definitely a lot. I've never noticed there's so much Doom before.
Sonic speedrunners are very dramatic, I tend to find.
Yeah.
We're a dramatic bunch.
True.
So don't get crushed by those, that would be bad. Immediately go into flight, because we're going to take the mid route here. It's a little bit tricky, but it's actually not too bad if you use the flight correctly. Drop down this section, up and around, onto the next spring, fly to the top, and guess what? You can move these spikes. Secret section.
Yeah, I'm not even bothering that big ring. We're too close to the end of the level for it to matter.
Yeah, don't need to worry about it.
And
then
is stop hitting yourself, the boss, is it?
Yes, this is Stop Hitting Yourself the Boss, Part 1. Also known affectionately, shout-outs to RPG, by the way, another Sonic speedrunner, one of my moderators, and a fantastic person, who has affectionately coined this boss Mr. Tickles.
I do not want to get tickled with those giant spiky balls. That's all I'll say.
I imagine it will certainly tickle a particular way. So yeah, just needs to hit himself 6 times. Again, because we're Hyper Tails, we don't take any damage of that kind. We can just stand there and wait. Right, Flying Battery Act 2. Up we go. There's only one route through this, and the hardest part of it is coming up here. Don't lose the shield, nice. Even though we swap it anyway, it just takes time to take the damage. Okay. So in Act 2, we've got these kind of spiral areas. We're going to have to wait for them to take us down. The biggest problem with those is they can crush us. We have to be a little bit careful with them. Already up to 50 rings. Not going to transform yet. I'm going to save that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of points in transforming this level, because it is so enclosed that there's not really much you can do as far as the speed and routing goes.
So it's just here we'll transform for this fire section. Also because there's spikes here and it's very easy to lose your rings on them.
Yeah, and you can see with a lot of these like elevator systems that they're very cycle based as well. So.
Okay, please don't crush me. Believe. Okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm not even risking that. Here early, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming up in a second is our dear friend. Mindez, would you like to announce our dear friend?
Please, everybody, welcome Spider Steve, taking us to the other side of the level.
Thank you for your service, Spider Steve.
You've very much have to go through Spider Steve to get to the end of the level.
He is the hero of Sonic speedrunning. You literally cannot finish this game glitchless without the help of our dear friend Spider Steve, and we are very grateful for his years and years of service.
He's got such an emotional backstory where he was created as a minion of Eggman, and you know he's broken his programming to help us in our final like steps of our journey. Well, maybe that's just in my head.
So I could disable Hyper here and save the rings, but I personally quite like the fact that the Flickies are trying in desperate vain to defeat this boss.
Yeah, this is not a boss you defeat by hitting. This is a boss you defeat by hitting itself.
So something that you may or may not notice is that the second half of the game, the Sonic and Knuckles half, if you had the original 2 cartridges, there's quite a few auto-scroller style bosses, that being one of them. We're going to see a few more before the end of the run, including, and I won't spoil it, but there is a section of extremely thrilling gameplay coming up. But for now, we need to wait for this platform, another auto-scroller section, this platform to rise from the bottom for the second part of this boss. The nice thing with Sonic 3 Air, guess what? They made it faster when you get to the end. So this is going to come at us at a rate of knots right now to take us up to our boss arena. And I'm just going to stand here. Yep. Because the Flickies are going to do all the work for me. Good Flickies. One more. There we go.
Wow.
I get a bottom. So I should say, if you are just joining us and wondering, what are those sounds? The first thing I should say is, that's normal. At least for Sonic 3 Air, it's normal. But yeah, while I go and start Sandopolis, Mindez, do you want to just explain to anyone who's just joining us, what on earth are they hearing right now?
Yeah, so this is a remake of the original Sonic 3 and Knuckles that supports mods, and one of the types of mods it supports is sound mods that replace sounds in the game. So there's quite a few like runners of this game that have contributed their amazing vocal talents to re-record every single sound effect in this game. Argic being one of them, and that's the one that we are listening to right now. So that's why we're hearing Argic's wonderful Scottish ring every time we pick up a ring.
So yeah, Argic has spent a good few hours re-recording. I think it's over 200 sound effects in the game. Literally every single sound effect has been replaced with Argic's lovely voice, and that's what you're hearing right now. Sandopolis, by the way, we take a bit of a unique route with Tails. It is the fastest route through Sando, believe it or not. It's also one of my favourite routes, and I'm sure many people who know me well know just how much I love this level. Also, that's a 1 minute cycle, which is, as far as I can tell, the fastest cycle you can get in Sando.
Very
I
nice.
forgot you can fast forward the pyramid too. I always forget you can fast forward the pyramid.
Yeah, that's one of the things that was added in a very, very recent update to fast forward the pyramid.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to attempt a fast boss strat here. This is really tricky with Tails. I'm going to take intentional damage here, and as the boss jumps, I'm going to try and hit him on his right-hand side to knock him further left. If I do this correctly twice, I'll get him in the sandpit in 2 cycles. So let's see if I can get the second one. That's the second one. In he goes. Beautiful.
Nice.
With Sonic, that's really easy. Tails is the hardest character to do that with. It's so easy to miss and knock him backwards and do an Argic.
Yeah, it's so easy with Sonic because he's got a insta shield that increases the size of his hitbox by so much. But yeah, Tails is one of the smaller hitbox characters. And here we have Sando 2, which is leveled again. I don't truly believe exists.
Yeah, for anyone wondering, Mendez has only ever run this game glitched, and it means that there's certain levels, Sando 2 being one of them, that you can just skip entirely. You don't have to play it. We don't need to worry about the rings. It's a shame I lost them, but they're not a concern because we're actually going to be going across the other side here and grabbing ourselves a big ring.
Yeah, and that means pretty much the entire gimmick of this game, which is the ghosts that chase you throughout the entire level, are pretty much not going to be able to do anything.
No, they're pretty much redundant, I'm afraid. We're putting them out of their job. I'm sure our American and friends from across the world won't get this joke, but we've basically given them their P45.
Yeah.
I don't know what the equivalent is in other places in the world. Oh, just missed that jump slightly, but that's fine. So yeah, we're going to make a good use of Tails' flight here. So if you remember earlier on in the run, I was talking about that mechanic where if I jump right at the arc of his flight, we get a little bit of a boost as he starts flying. That is absolutely vital to do Sando 2 fast because we use the flight so much here because there's so much kind of vertical platforming. That was terrible. Try again. There we go.
Yeah, there are a load of switches throughout the level that can turn the light on again, but we just don't need to hit them. What are the ghosts going to do? Fly around menacingly?
Plus, it's fun to do it in the dark. No, I probably could have made that, but well,
Anyway.
Okay, so we're gonna try a little waterfall skip here. So this is a sand waterfall, and I need to frame perfect. Yeah, nice. The way we do that is just mash the buttons.
very technical. The strategy.
I'm not gonna lie. It's a near frame perfect kind of thing. As soon as you hit the bottom of the sand, you basically need to immediately press the jump button. I think there's a gap of like a few frames for it. There's no real skill to it. You basically mash the buttons and hope.
Amazing.
I can't pretend it's anything other than that. Anyway, into the boss arena we go. We're Tails, so we can just fly straight into him. We're just gonna headbutt him lots. There we go. Ghost. Right, Lava Reef 1. I'm going to be collecting a lightning shield here. HUDs. Don't lose the lightning shield. It's vital. There we go. I've told myself now it will happen. It's Discworld rules, right? I believe thus it is.
Exactly. It's like it must be like a 1 in a million chance of you losing lightning shield, right? That's,
Oh no, don't say that. Why would you say that? Okay, we haven't lost the lightning shield, that's good. So we're going to grab these rings here, these rings here, these rings here. We're going to head to the top, grab a load of rings here, but I'm going to grab these 2 boxes and transform and we're safe. Lovely. So, Lava Reef Act 1 is a level where we can get crushed pretty often here if we're not careful about it. There's a lot of these kind of spike crushers that we'll see in a second, and we got to traverse quite a few of them. Let's head across. We're going to head across to Little Boss Arena. So while we're doing this, Dijon, if you've got any messages you'd like to read, now would be a great time.
Absolutely. We have a couple of donations. We've got $100 from Medbee or Maeve, who says, Ring, so glad I was able to make it to the Sonic block. So happy to see Power Up with Pride again. Let's extend the marathon with all those fun incentives. And then we also got a $150 donation from Nox with no comment.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for your donations, everyone. It truly will make a difference. And yeah, that's some incredible amounts, incredibly generous people. Please do keep them coming in. Power Up with Pride. I mean, this is my first time at Power Up with Pride. I was incredibly gutted that I missed out on submitting for Power Up with Pride Summer. You know, as someone who certainly likes to consider themselves an LGBTQ plus ally. You know, it is a great honor to be selected to come and run at this marathon. I'm very, very proud to be here today. So yeah, thank you, by the way, to everyone who puts in their time and effort to put these marathons on, and to the whole team here at Power Up Pride who do such an excellent job.
Yeah, I'll second all that.
So here we are in the boss arena. This is Heat Arms, despite the fact there's only one. Yep. We just stand here. There you go. It's super difficult, I know. There is actually a hard boss coming up for Tails. It's coming up next, so you know. Fingers crossed. Anyway, into Act 2. We're going to restart from the last checkpoint. We're going to skip a little bit of the level at the beginning because restarting the level actually starts you later in the level. We lose the lightning shield, but we don't need the lightning shield, so it's fine. However, it does mean we need to be a little bit careful on rings because we pretty much don't have any room for mistakes here. We're going to go up these cylinders. I'm going to head up to the left and into a secret compartment that contains 2 ring boxes. This brings us up to 33. I need to avoid the fire. I need to avoid the spikes and grab these rings here. And then we're going to spin along, grab these ones, and great, 52. Now we can transform. That's how tight we are on the ring count for this level. If we don't get hyper, this level is going to be slow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's basically 2 kinds of threats in this level. There's stuff that can stuff that hits you with fire and stuff that crushes you. And yeah, you really want to be hyper for all those for all the stuff that spits fire at least.
Ooh.
Oh,
Just
not quite high enough.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take another little secret area down the bottom here. Grab ourselves 50 more rings from that big ring. We're going to head up to the top and we're going to see our old red friend here, Knuckles. Hi, Knuckles. What you got for us? Oh. Well, that's a boulder. That's just mean.
And that takes into the Lava Reef 2 boss fight.
I hope you guys are prepared for not only one of the hardest boss fights you will see in this run, but one of the most thrilling gameplay moments of this run. We're going to come across this auto-scroller section. There is lava below us. As we head up, that lava disappears and now becomes an instant death kill plane. We cannot slow this down. We have to keep pace with it. Now we're going to jump over these gaps. We're going to grab some more rings as we go. There's a checkpoint here for safety, and...
Oh, Huds, what if you fall?
It's fine. We can fly. Oh no! Oh, it's fine actually. There's rings here. We're going to go up to this section. We're going to grab this fire shield, and it means the fire doesn't hurt us.
Yep.
So we'll just stand here and see what happens. That block just disappeared. Why did that block just disappear?
Wait, what?
Oh, thank goodness, it's not soft lock. Oh no, it's the boss. Oh, we'll just turn hyper. Look, Mark, no hands.
This is a boss whose basically only threat is this giant fire waterfall, and it gives you a fire shield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fire is one of the only things that can hurt you. It gives you a fire shield. But hey, we're Hyper Tails. We'll just stand here. Thrilling gameplay moment. Woo! Yeah, this is. It's a long-standing meme. Now, in the original game, let's give you some actual real facts here. In the original game, this boss took 14 hits to defeat. thankfully, in the latest version of Sonic 3 Air, we can limit that back to 8, which means after this second one here, the boss is thankfully over, and thrilling gameplay has ceased. Back to our normally scheduled gameplay.
I don't think I could take much more of that.
I mean, it was blinding.
It really was.
Right, out we go into Hidden Palace.
This incredible bitrate.
Oh yeah, it absolutely destroys the bitrate, I'm afraid. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, always.
Okay, so we're going to head to the end here. Now, anyone who's played this game will know we're going to be seeing the red boy in a second. However, don't be fooled. He has been beefed up somewhat in this one, but it doesn't mean much because we can just stand on the right and jump. He is genuinely a lot harder to defeat, and it is kind of a rite of passage for Sonic 3 Air speedrunners to lose several lives to Knuckles along their speedrunning career. Having none of that today, though.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, this cutscene can now be fast-forwarded. This was only implemented, I think, in the last version but one.
Oh, yeah.
It's about a 30-second time save. Also, oh no. I've got to do oh no.
Yeah, they keep adding more, yet more and more fast forwards, which is really cool. Like this beginning bit, I think, can be fast forward as well, can't it? Yeah.
And indeed. Also, this is the most epic track in this music mod. I love it. It just sounds so epic with like the church style like bells and stuff. Anyway, Sky Sanctuary, this is a vertical stage, which means we need to go up. Guess what? We're Tails. We are the perfect character for going up, and that is what we are going to do. There are 2 mini-bosses on this level. We skipped both of them. In fact, we've already skipped one of them. You didn't even notice it, did you?
Wait, there are 2 mini-bosses on this level?
Apparently so. I don't know.
I don't believe it.
The second one I've heard is on the right, but again, I don't really know because we're going up, not right.
Yeah.
So you can see every time. You can also, by the way, see that I'm specifically trying to land as often as I can because, again, if I can jump and get that kind of extra momentum from the flight, I can gain a lot more speed and travel a lot further than I would if I just carried on flying on this section. So I'm always trying to find somewhere to flight cancel and then jump back into flight. And here we are, within 1 minute at 15 at the boss. We need some good RNG here. That's good RNG. That's exactly what we want to see. Let's have that one more time, please. Nope, that's not what we want. 1, 2, 3. We're going to have another cycle here. But we'll get him in the air. Pop. And done. So yeah, with that boss, it's RNG as to whether or not he faces you or faces away. We always want him to face us with Tails because it means we can get 4 easy hits in. If he faces back, the spikes on the back of his head do hurt us, which you saw a second ago. Anyway, we are into our last zone, Death Egg. Let's head to the bottom. We're going to beat this 8-second cycle here. I'm going to slow down because I don't want to take any damage off him. It's not super important. It's just a time loss. This lightning shield, I definitely want to keep hold of.
Yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Death Egg is one of the most changed levels, because Sonic 3 Air does change a few levels, like the geometry of some levels. So like this path that we're going down here was Tails only in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like the original game, but it's been redesigned slightly so that all the characters can go this way now.
Yep, so that spring there doesn't exist in the first game. In the first game in the original game in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which means if you go there as Sonic, for example, you will just fall to your death. But they added it there, and they slightly redesigned the beginning of that to actually open it up, as you say, Mendez, to all the other characters, to Sonic. Although Knuckles doesn't actually go this far.
Oh, yeah,
you can, through level select, play this level as Knuckles. But yeah, it's a much loved change because it saves around about 45 seconds to a minute on the run from going the usual Sonic route. Anyway, almost at the end of the level now, and again, 1 minute 15. Hello, Red Eye. So
this is going to be very therapeutic if you've only played non-hyper versions of this game.
Oh yes, let's see if
Red Eye is Red Eye.
Hop to success. There we go. I love that.
Beautiful.
One of my favorite tricks. Right, we're going to go into Death Egg 2. I'm going to be grabbing a lightning shield at the beginning. I have to keep this lightning shield, or genuinely, and I mean it sincerely this time, we will be in trouble ring count wise.
Beep, beep.
So, Tails, stop, please. Thank you. We're going to go along here. Oh, this is bad. Okay. Right, grab this lightning shield. I need to keep this, and there's a very dangerous jump just here. Okay, we're good. Oh, nearly lost it on that enemy, though, but we're good. We're fine. grab the 3 boxes here, off we go. So yeah, the rings are going to count down, but because we've got this lightning shield, as long as I keep hold of it, the rings will follow us and we'll be absolutely fine on ring count. If you lose the lightning shield, it gets very ropey near the end. You almost certainly will not have hyper tails for the final boss, and that is a bit of a time loss and very risky.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do another little skip coming up in a second. There is a section to the level. You can see we're upside down. This is kind of this level's gimmick. It reverses gravity. There is a section coming up in a second where we're upside down. We're supposed to take a particular path to then right ourselves, but instead we're going to skip that because they didn't actually implement just here a solid wall all the way to the bottom of the level. So we can actually just fly over this and just skip a whole section of the level just by flying upside down, which is, I can tell you from practice and experience, a lot harder than it looks.
That is one of my favorite skips because it's just like, yeah, they clearly just didn't put a wall there.
Yep. What makes that surprisingly hard is that I need to hold up to go down and down to go up, and it's the only section of the run you do that. Okay, heading towards the end now. We're going to grab these extra rings. I'm going to de-transform. I'm going to turn hyper off because here we are at Uwu Ball, being lovingly sound affected by Argic here. And yeah, it's again another kind of auto scroller. We can speed it up by staying upside down. We're going to spin dash into the mines that he releases, and then just knock them back into him for the 8 hits that we need. But we want to save the rings here for the final boss while we de-transform. There's not really any danger at this point.
Yeah, and the reason we de-transform is so that we still have the 50 rings, so that when we get into the final boss, we can re-transform again. Because there's no reason to be hyper here. Even with the Flickies of Doom, it just, like, bounces off the boss ineffectively.
I mean, it is quite funny to hear the Flickies bounce off the boss, but it's true, you know, waste of rings. Okay, here we are, final boss. Time will be coming up at the end of this. So, this boss has 3 stages. The first stage is fingers. There are 3 fingers. Each finger needs 3 hits for a grand total of 18 hits. The Flickies will help a little bit here. The fastest we can do this with Tails solo is 3 cycles. That's the first cycle. Here's the second one. Let's see how we get on. How many hits we're going to get. That's not great. This could be... I don't think we're going to get it in 3. No, we're not. Wow,
No.
Still 2 fingers to go. Okay. There we go. So 4 cycles, not too bad. Second cycle, laser. Because we have the Flickies of Doom, we're going to let them do the work here. So we're going to bonk him on the nose. It opens up the laser, and we just let the Flickies go and do all the damage. I just need to make sure I don't fall in the death pit behind me.
Yep. One of the big dangers on this boss is one of the Flickies doing damage to the boss and then going for a hit and then just falling through the boss because the hitbox isn't active.
Yeah.
So let the Flickies do all the work.
Exactly. Third stage, Eggman's going to try and get away with the Master Emerald. There's 2, 3, 4 hits. Time is going to be coming up on the white fade out. 5 and 6. 2 more hits to go. Finishing off 7 and 8. Time will be on the fade out. That is time.
GG.
Thank you very much. That is Tails New Game Plus Glitchless Sonic 3 Angel Island Revisited. A really, really fun run. I only actually picked up this run around about a month ago. I've actually only done 14, 15 runs of this particular category. If you're looking at getting into Sonic speedrunning, especially with Sonic 3 or Sonic 3 Air, I would highly recommend Tails New Game Plus, as it's very beginner-friendly for that reason. You know, a lot of fun. You can redeem yourself with the flight if you make mistakes, and obviously turning into Hyper Tails, you know, a lot of the enemies and the difficulty is kind of taken away, which is very nice, so yeah. So yeah, that's the one. Mindez, do you have any kind of shout-outs you'd like to make?
I kind of did all my shoutouts in my own run. I just ran Discord just before this, so I'm gonna say, you know, follow me up Mindezi and follow Huds at huds601.
Oh, yeah, I want to give firstly a huge shout out and thank you, Mindez, for coming on to help commentate this run. It's always a genuine pleasure to have you here with me. You know, an incredibly good friend, also one of my moderators, one of my most trusted people, who, you know, looks after me when I'm streaming and looks after everything when I'm not about. So it's always a great honor to have you here, and I'm proud to be able to call you a friend.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, and you know, obviously this was a category I don't run. I'm sure you couldn't tell from my commentary.
It's all good. I'm just pleased to have you here, honestly. Yeah, huge shout out to my community as well, who always turn up. I see you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for all your support over these last kind of 14 months that I've been streaming and speedrunning. A huge shout out as well, as I said earlier, to everyone here at Power Up with Pride. Everyone behind the scenes, the hosts, the restreamers, the tech side. You know, it takes a lot of effort to put one of these marathons on. I know, I do it. And you know, there's a lot of people that you know put a lot of time and effort into this and give up their time over weekends to bring you these shows, and you know, you don't always realize that they're there doing that, and it's a lot of work and effort for them. So a huge thank you to everyone behind the scenes. You know, it's very much appreciated to allow runners like me to come along and do this thing. Also shout out to the Sonic speedrun community. Love you guys. If you're interested in learning to speedrun a Sonic game, come check us out. We've got literally thousands now of members of speedrunners of every Sonic game. We can teach you everything you need to know to get you up and running in a Sonic speedrun category. Thank you to Eukaryote for developing Sonic 3 Air and the Sonic 3 Air community for everything they've given to us with this game. Shout out to Argit for letting me use his mod pack as well. And finally, yeah, if you enjoyed what you've seen, come and drop me a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/huds601. I'm going to be picking up a new game from next week. We're going to be learning Mania, so it'd be great to see you there. And you can see what I started speedrunning for, which was to prove that anyone can do it. It just takes practice. If I can do it, believe me, you can as well. And I love showing that process of going from a complete novice to a speedrunner to showing it off at marathon. So it'd be great to see you there. With all of that said, again, huge thank you and shout outs to everyone. If I've missed anything, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm going to hand it back to our wonderful host Dijon and let the Sonic block continue.
Alright, GG. So, yeah, that was a great run. And pretty soon we will keep this Sonic block going as I talk slowly to stall until I get the Sonic 3D Blast is coming up by Ori Sky. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see ya yeah, in a minute.